Welcome to Matt Bajerski YouTube channel. It's a beautiful day to talk about one of my favorite crystal pendants. Not crystals, but pendants. Obviously, there's crystals on the pendants, but it's not one particular crystal, it's two. So we've been doing a lot of duos at the moment, marriage crystals, which are fantastic, right? How did that happen? Well, I guess wearing one crystal, then another, and then feeling the energy of wearing 1, 2, 3, 10, and then taking some off, and then like sometimes the frequency of 3 or crystals working together or 2 helped in so many different ways, especially as a healer. If you're out every day and you're traveling to different countries and you're doing healing sessions on people that you've never really understood what part of their world and understanding of their world is, what they're going through, because it doesn't happen in your country. It's kind of weird, really, but when you're wearing certain crystals, you can definitely pick up the energy of awareness, awakening of that moment and understanding. It's really powerful. So sometimes crystals really help when you are kind of like, okay, I don't really know what this is. I don't know what I'm going to get myself into, but let's just give it a go. And you take certain crystals out and you work with different crystals at the same time, and it's just quite incredible, really, depending on. Do you want me to give you a for instance? I mean, we should be talking about this crystal now, but for instance, I went to a part of the world where it was quite common where the ground, Mother Earth, would reject certain projects. And it's very unusual here on the Costa del Sol because there's project after project. But in the country that I went to, it was quite fascinating. So I went to this country and there was a property wanting to be built on this piece of beautiful land. I took a couple of crystals out and just held them and sat on the land, and within a few minutes I received a message from what I believe is not the spirit world, but actually nature spirits, slightly different energy, different frequency. And that was fascinating. And I got up and they asked me what I felt, and I said, they don't want you to build here. If you go back 500 feet and leave that section alone, you'll be okay. I left not knowing what the hell that was and where that came from, but they changed all the plans and they got planning permission, and all the bad luck disappeared, which wasn't bad luck, it was just the nature spirits intervening slightly to stop you from moving forward. And that was a fascinating day for me to understand all of that. And then the confirmation later saying, yeah, planning came through, everything's fine. They actually ended up creating a sacred sanctuary of that place. What did they do with it? I think they gave it away to a national trust, and that's forever going to be kept there as. But like I said, certain parts where nature spirits reside, it's incredible. I'll give you another for instance about nature spirits as well. I had a friend called Penelope. She had a property about 30 minutes away, and basically to get to the property you have to drive in the mountain and around, and then the big gates open, and then it's all her property, and it takes about 5 minutes drive to get to her big casita. It was huge, and there was no houses anywhere near for a couple of miles. Anyway, one day she took me down to a special place, and when we got there, the car door opened, and Cecilia with me. It was just incredible. You could feel the energy of that place, and I was gifted. Hang on. I was gifted by the nature spirits. I could feel them and hear them, and I looked down. They said, "This is a gift," and this was the gift here. That was the gift given to me. And I put crystals on this. I put it, and it's just a beauty. I've kept it ever since. And down there's a white owl in this particular place, and the nature spirits live there. And how do I know this? Well, a few years ago, there was a massive fire on the Costa del Sol. It was terrible. It started in Alorin, El Grande, somewhere around there. And then it started moving towards Marbella. And it went right up to her land and then stopped. The fire stopped, so it didn't touch her land. So the nature spirits had helped that section. Now, a lot of people will get angry at that and say, well, that's bullshit because my place got burnt down. Where was my nature spirits? I don't know. I have no idea. But it's funny how none of her land got touched at all. It just stopped right by her land. It's incredible. Anyway, guys, I guess we should talk about a most amazing pendant. So let me introduce you to my own prototypes, which have been out now for probably about 2 to 3 years, something like that. So say hello to my beautiful Moldavite and Tektite. I call them Maltex. Aren't they gorgeous? So this is my latest collection. I was very, very surprised to find out that my Balinese beautiful workforce said, hey, we've still got some of the Moldavites. And I went, what? I says, please create them into Moldavites and some into Maltex. So they're here. They've arrived and they are absolutely gorgeous. Not a lot, but they're here. Look at that for a juice bomb. Look at that gorgeous. Isn't that just divine? Look at that. I'm sorry you can't see it that well, but... And then all the rest of them are just so gorgeous. That gorgeous? Yeah, I mean, just phenomenal. These are just phenomenal. Shapes are gorgeous. They're lovely. Different shapes. The Moldavite setting is fabulous. Not a claw setting this time. Beautiful setting, nice and safe. Gracias, my beautiful family in Bali. Thank you so much for listening and following these guidelines, which have made these somewhat really gorgeous. So I actually recognized the little pieces of Moldavite because I brought these back from the Czech Republic a few years ago, and I was actually glad at the time. I bought quite a lot, and it was a huge investment, and my bank manager was like, what? And I'm saying, yeah, but it's worth it. And it ended up being worth it because Moldavite has become so sought after these days. So what is it with Moldavite and Tektite? Why do you like Moldavite and Tektite, Mark, so much? Well, I guess working as a healer full time and a psychic, I think one of the things that I wanted to attune to is two things. One, I wanted to help people's future. I wanted to help them see their future and more importantly, believe in their future and feel safe and comfortable. So when I used to sit down with my client, I used to put my hands over their hands and try attune to their energy and try to capture glimpses of a future. And there could be many different paths of their future. And as I speak to them, as I'm feeling their future, they never said a word. I just told them what I saw, the possibilities of a future, of their future, and told them if I saw anything that may be a little bit challenging, giving them the tools to be able to face that challenge and how to prepare for it and how to overcome it, which I think is really important. A lot of psychics don't do that, but I think it's important too. That, to me, what's the point in knowing that's going to happen? Okay, I'm not really looking forward to it, but what about if somebody tells you, look, there's a possibility that could happen, and if it does, try and do this, do that, do this, and maybe we can change the future from it being a difficult challenge to one that was not a challenge at all. That's how I saw it as a psychic. Now, at that process, straight after that, you lay them down on a healing bed and you give them healing. As you're giving them healing, you're trying to clear away all the trauma that is within them, because a lot of people come for sessions because there's deep trauma. They don't know how to get rid of it. They don't know their future, so they're in fear of a lot of things. So a healer really clears that away. The two crystals that I work with predominantly over those two specific fields of work, one was Moldavite. That gave me the connection towards the future. It gave me an insight that not really many other crystals could do. Moldavite heightened my awareness to what I could see that other crystals didn't. Now, that doesn't mean other crystals are rubbish. It just means that other crystals work in different ways. Moldavite for me worked so well. That's why I always had 2 or 3 or 4 pieces on me and around me. Sometimes I had 10 or 15 around me as I'm working. And then from then, as a healer, I'd worked with thousands of crystals as a healing work, but predominantly to clear negative energy. I realized that there was one crystal above all the crystals that would help with the process of clearing the negative energy. And how that happens is Tektite, the black Tektite from Thailand and Cambodia, the black Tektite and other places. The black Tektite had this unique ability that would absorb negative energy, literally suck it in. And I saw that through visual, just watching my client laying down after a healing session. I could see the residue of negative energy, but I saw it being sucked into the Tektite. At first I thought, wow, it's going back into the body. But when I went over and lifted the Tektite, I could see that the energy was going into the Tektite, and from the stomach area, as I lifted it up, it was actually going in. So it looked like, and it was being sucked in both ways from the area around her, the residue, and from the stomach. It was being sucked into the... I was kind of confused, and I'm like, is this really happening? It was very similar to when I did a healing session when I was married to Susie, and I was going over the top of a stomach with my hand, and she had a brown furry cover over her, which I covered her to do a healing session on her stomach. And I was like, is that white powder coming off my hands? And at first you think there's something like there's something wrong with your eyes. You're thinking this is just me exaggerating, or am I just making this up? And then as I was moving my hands this way, the powder would go like that. But then when I changed the direction, the powder would do that, and then it would just... So it was moving as my hands were, so it was coming off my hands. So I ended up seeing energy a lot more stronger the more I was doing the healing work, the more I was meditating, the more I was getting away from the nonsense outside and really fully focusing on energy. And thus, my understanding of crystals is through my work, not through books, not through other people's teachings. So why I believe that Moldavite and Tektite is the perfect combination for any healers and psychics is that reason. Because of the work that I put into it, and the fact that, and this isn't, being big-headed, but I was fully booked for months. So people were coming because there was something being said which was correct. Then there was something being healed which made them better. So, I was more surprised than anybody, to be honest, but I've got to say that my level of awareness with Moldavite was incredible. Only in this village, it's great. It's brilliant. I'm not saying what it is, being, too many judges out there in this world, but it's just nice to see two people holding hands. Really nice. And whatever choice. Anyway, shut up, Max. So, that's it really. How do you work with this crystal? And how does it work? Well, I always put the Moldavite higher up, because the Moldavite, the higher it goes, the higher you're going to your intuition, your third eye, your pineal gland, your alpha muscle, all of these muscles that I believe are within us. This spacesuit switches these buttons on to help us connect to that magic, really, and that higher intuition. The lower down you go with this crystal, the lower down, this kind of big one is for healers, because they're working predominantly holding it like this and working it. But the higher up you go, the more you connect to the Moldavite. The lower down you go, the more you connect to the Tektite. So depending on what you're doing, what work you're doing, if you're doing healing work that day, you'll be going lower down. So you'll be taking a string or a longer chain down to the stomach, preferably around the belly button. And if you're doing psychic work, just bring it up to the heart or a little bit higher. Again, fantastic. The Moldavite is brilliant. Even if the Moldavite is lower down, you're still getting your intuition. You're getting this brilliant wave of energy through your energy field. So don't worry about it being high or low, but it does help a little bit, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I guess you want to pinpoint something, get closer to it. So, but I wouldn't worry about where it's hanging for the performance of the Moldavite. If it's down in your stomach, it will still correctly work. And if you're up higher up, the Tektite will still do its job. So, yeah, like I said, when I was watching a client lying down, and I'm going to make more videos on that, by the way. I've got 2 dummies in there that I'm going to lie on a healing bed, and we're going to talk about how energy works. And but yeah, if I'm sat here after an end of a healing session, I would sit down, close my eyes, and just let the client be. And instead of talking to your clients, just leave them alone and let them feel for themselves. Let them come up with their own answers. Let them make the decisions. Let them try and be the teacher and the pupil at the same time. So just leave them alone. But sometimes you'd open your eyes and you just catch a glimpse on their energy. And like I said, when you see the Tektite, when it's lying on the client, if it's on the stomach, from the head, the residue that's being lifted, and it's now being sucked into the stomach, then you can see that the Tektite is going to work wherever it is, because it will just pick it up. So through the day, when you're going through stress, when you're feeling not too good, when things are happening around you that you don't like what you're seeing, without even realizing, you're created a negative residue or a negative buildup within your eyes, within your mind, within your stomach, your heart, your back, your shoulders. So these things are vital that they get removed. So you would go into Mother Earth, you would eat correctly, drink correctly, you would meditate, cleanse yourself, use sticks. But also, this kind of crystal is an amazing crystal when you haven't time for all of those things. If you're interacting with the public, it's a challenge, because all you've got to do all day is just talk to public. So, you can't cleanse yourself down every time you're speaking to somebody who's nasty, or you're working with people who are stressed or going through terrible issues. So by wearing a Tektite, it is an absorber of the negative reaction of how you feel to what you're seeing and what you're hearing and what somebody's saying or attacking you. So that's why Tektite is fabulous for that. Moldavite is an amazing crystal when you are doing the work. So let's say you want to attune to something. Let's say you want to write a book. Let's say you want to come up with ideas that you're lost with. You can't move forward. You feel stuck. You don't feel like you can connect to what you're meant to be doing in this world. You feel, completely lost. Wearing Moldavite helps, because what it does is it blasts an energy that awakens certain things which has been dumbed down by chemicals, by chemtrails, by all the things that you might not believe in, but we're attacked all the time. 5G, everything is attacking us to dumb us down so we don't become the great power that we are. That's why Moldavite has become one of the most sought after crystals in the world. And for me, that's like gold dust now, and it's hard to get. The prices are so sky high that it looks ridiculous on my website. That one crystal can be, €100, and then the one next to it, the same, can be 190. It's like, well, they're both the same. Well, the prices have doubled, trebled, quadrupled. So it's difficult now for me. But anyway, I managed to get these, and I know I've got a few more Moldavites that are in there that I have to have a look through with the box that came. So, and these were for months and months ago. So it was like a real beautiful surprise to have these, to receive them. Anything else about Maltex? I just think they're an amazing combination. You just look at them and you can see it's a perfect combination. And it's not only brings balance, it brings balance in the mind, brings balance in the whole aura field. You feel stronger, you feel more powerful. Any kind of issues physically, I think it's a great crystal to bring. What's the word? I had the word last night in my mind. it's not predominantly the healer of the crystal that is working, but it's keeping things as they are so they don't get worse. So yeah, I don't want to go too much into saying that this is the healer of the crystal, because what it does is it absorbs the negative energy. So it just kind of keeps you where you are so it doesn't get worse. So then you can work on yourself so it can get better. Yeah, you probably already know the word, but yeah, it's a great all-round crystal. I would wear it predominantly if I was working in the public. If I was a full-time psychic or healer, I'd wear it if I was wanting to do creative channeling or work, any kind of creative work. I think it's an all-round fabulous pendant. And I'm going to do a video on the most powerful pendants in the world soon, and this is going to be in the top 10 for sure. So there you go. Have a beautiful day, guys. I really hope that I have served these two crystals well, and I believe that this is one of the most powerful marriage crystals in the world, and I hope you enjoy them. So go to your local store and ask for a genuine Tektite and Moldavite, and then take it to your nearest jewelers and mount them together, or you can go on Bajerski.com and get them already mounted. They're not many, but they're there. Hopefully by the end of the day. Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much. Take care, guys.